Hey, good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Thanks for joining me on tonight's Patreon live. Sorry, it's a little bit late this one, but I think it's going to be definitely well worth it. I appreciate those who can't tune in and watch live because it's quite late here in the UK. But obviously, you guys can watch this tomorrow or whenever you're cleaning rats, cleaning snakes, whatever. I'd like to welcome everyone who's in the chat at the moment. Good evening, all. We've got Phil in the chat. We have Justin from Ballerama, and we have Lavish Rolls. Good evening. We do have a few joining us on, and I'm just going to check the naughty room because a few people get trapped in the Patreon messages, and it looks like you're all through. So, we've got Twisted Morph Matrix lurking in the background. Good evening. Not sure if that's Liam or Toby, but good evening. So, tonight's live, what is it about? It's about the Adder project, and it's a project that I've tried looking for and searching and trying to get some information on. And when I saw our guest, Jim, um, hatch some amazing stuff, I knew I had to get it from Jim. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring in Jim from Ectothermic Dungeon. How's it going, Jim?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm very good, very good. How's the sound? Is everything all crystal clear still? We all good?
Yeah. Looks good. Sounds good.
Perfect, perfect.
First off, I want to thank you for inviting me on. I'm excited about it. It's going to be fun. This is one of my passion genes. So
I think, Jim, we've been friends for a number of years, and it's been great to try and, we've kept in contact over the years and stuff. But I think it's good to discuss projects like this, which are really under the radar.
mm, yeah, I
So,
agree. I agree. I mean, I don't know really where you want to start with it. I mean, I can go
yeah,
back to
so
like how I got involved, or if you had other plans of really getting into this, or how you wanted to do that.
Yeah, so I'll just touch on a little bit of history regarding the Adder gene. So, and then I'll get your account, if you like, Jim, of how you got into the project and your thoughts. So, the Adder gene or the black adder, and as far as I can see, there was talk of the adder and the black gene,
Yep.
saying that it was two genes. However, from what I've seen of what you've got, Jim, I would class that as the original Blackadder. From what I've seen, the stuff you're producing is what I would class as the Blackadder. Now, it was founded by the Regis Club in the UK in 2006.
Mm,
I look back through their Facebook and through anything I can find. It only goes as far back, I think, as 2014. Um, so there's not much data I can find other than I know the Regis Club was working very closely with the Reptile Pit back in them days. So I believe it was some sort of collaboration between the two. Um, but yeah, that's basically where I could find. There were a number of Facebook groups and discussions on forums because probably before 2014, everyone was on forums.
yeah.
Everyone was on like RFUK, Bush League Breeders Club, all that sort of stuff. So on the Facebook, it only goes far back as 2014. But so that's the history. It was founded here in the UK. Jim, tell us a little bit how you got into the project and how you saw it.
So back in the I'm back in the day, so to speak, when there was a lot of discussion in the industry about resurrecting genes and going back and trying to find something that you like and then try to pull it back and do something with it. Justin does that a lot. Right around a similar time, he was starting to do that or had been doing that with the red stripe.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent hours going through books like Kevin McCurley's books and online, just trying to find something that was, I don't know, that I thought was unique and kind of spoke to me. And I came
Yeah.
across the what was called the Black Adder. Um, I, from what I had found, and I can't even. I tried to go back and find where I had found this information. I was under the impression that when they started it and they called it the black adder. They later did separate the black gene out of it
Hmm.
and determined that there was a second gene, and now it's classified as adder, or at least it is on Morph Market.
Yeah.
Um, I don't. That information came from the gentleman that I ended up buying the animals from, which was Designer Morphs.
Yeah.
He was an importer. He may still be an importer, and he was bringing a lot of stuff in at the time. And he had an animal that I picked up, and it was a banana a banana spider adder male. So it was good that it was a male. Unfortunately, it ran a lot of male maker banana and spider stuff in everything I was trying to do. Which we've been working for like 5 years, 6 years now, trying to get not all of it, but a lot of that out. It's, at
Yeah.
least the spider component.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like spider, I do. I'll keep it in females so that I can isolate, choose to breed them or
Yeah.
not. But I can't have it in a primary breeder because then 4 or 5 clutches a year of spider stuff is just too much. So we had been working to try to get it bred out. That male, that initial male was an awful and still is an awful breeder.
Yeah.
Um, the gentleman, my brother-in-law has him now, and it's still the same thing. He kind of locks when he wants to, not this girl or that girl, but maybe this time, not next time. So it's been a challenge to
Yeah.
get other animals to where I could move it. So it's been a slow process. Um, but I've got good breeders now, and we're kind of off to the races. I'm really, really excited about what it's going to do, especially now that I'm kind of seeing what it does do.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just kind of mind-boggling a little bit. Yeah, that's a great picture of what single gene form.
Yeah. So what I noticed was looking back. So I kind of agree that they talked about sort of separating the gene. Um, I to me like here's the thing, Jim. The black gene. If they've separated the black gene, that's good. Maybe they've pulled a separate gene out of the project. But certainly from the animals that you've produced and the two animals I've got from yourself, they are super dark. I mean,
Yeah,
the GHI adder, if you notice, those at home who are watching and listening, yeah, the adder when it's added to a few genes or when it's added to certain genes, it creates like ears or earmuffs on the side or markers on the ears. Have you
yeah,
noticed that, Jim?
yeah. And that girl has a really nice
Yeah.
depiction of that.
Yeah, and then the bang adder that I had off you doesn't have those earmuffs, if you like, but it's
Right.
so dark and powerful that you just about see the bang bleeding through the adder.
Yeah.
So, what I would, your adders, um, and yes, you're right, on Morph Market is, as you can see, it's known as the adder. And certainly when you look at an adder snake from Europe, of the venomous version, you can sort of see where the similarities are. But the one thing I noticed, I got an adder in from a breeder in the UK that was sold to him as an adder, but he produced some stuff from it. He wasn't sure. I then ended up speaking to the guy who sold it to him originally, talking about stuff. He was sending me some information over. I just wasn't convinced it was the same adder, Jim, that you
Yeah.
had got. And
Yeah.
I'm using you because you for me you've been at the forefront showing the stuff off. You know, the red stripe adder and the all the other stuff that
Yeah.
which is crazy. So you got it from Designer Morphs, was that? Yeah. And
Correct.
like you said, he was an importer. Now, have you heard about the super? That there's a super or anything like that?
So, um, as like you can see here, they have it labeled as a dominant. Um, I, I've heard from him that it did have a super. Um, so I haven't tried it myself. I haven't pushed that envelope.
Yeah,
I typically want to get a gene in a recessive visual, and then I'll work that
yeah,
back to make the super, so that when I make the super, it's going to be a het attached, just so that I have some weight with the rest of the clutch if I hit it.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
if I
I'm
don't
with
hit
you.
it, I have a whole clutch of stuff I have to do with, and nowadays it's a little more challenging to move some of those single gene animals, or two gene animals or whatever. And if there's no het in the mix, it's even harder.
Yes,
So
definitely.
we hit some of that stuff last season. So we're growing them up, and we're going to
Yeah,
be shooting for the super to see if there's what the validity is with that. Whether we can produce some of the stuff that Designer Morphs was calling the super. If not, then we'll have to work the road of determining its dominant gene.
yeah. So what I'm just doing here, I'm just pulling up because I kind of did the same as you. I did see a super adder that was produced by Designer Morphs, and it was definitely very interesting. And you could really argument there was a strong argument that it definitely looked different,
Yeah.
and that was something that I was quite. The first thing I noticed, I was like, yeah, that actually does look like super form. You know, it does look crazy enough to be that super form. So I think if I just do this, just bear with me, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll get this happening because what's important, I think it's irrelevant for me whether or not there's a super form, but it was interesting to see that you know people were listing a super form, and it was really interesting to see that, and so I thought that'd be really interesting to show
Yeah, and those
people.
pictures are not like a year or two old. Like they were up on the internet a while ago. So I don't know where or what happened with the validation part of whether it's a super or dominant, because there really is two different mindsets of what's going on with this gene. But it's kind of left out in the wind because there's really not enough people working with it that's really pushed the envelope to determine what it is.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that's really interesting. And again, it's such a powerful gene. Um, you know, it's just it's so evident when it's there in a gene. Even when you've got it on a bell complex, you can certainly see the adder. I mean, the Mojave, the Phantom, and the lesser adders really look, you know, really good,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Um,
And in
so
most
yeah,
accounts, the great thing with this gene, without a super in the mix, is that it's strong without being too strong, but it can play with the very strong genes and not get
yeah,
lost. Like you can clearly see it in Spider. It doesn't get lost in Spider. It doesn't get lost
yeah,
in GHI. You can look at them and you can tell what's there.
yeah,
So it's great where they're easy to identify out of the egg. I mean, if you're questioning if it's adder or if it's a normal,
yeah,
because at least with the stuff, the line that I'm working with, it's night and day. There's no
yeah,
question. And then it plays well with the big stuff. And we can look at some stuff later if you want.
yeah,
Some of
yeah.
the
That'd be great.
animals that I have, like in clown, it's doing some weird stuff. I mean, the head looks normal, the body looks hypo. Like
Wow.
and
So
I have
that
three of them, so
so that's an adder clone you've got. You were saying.
they're combos. So they all have
Oh, okay.
pastel, unfortunately. So it
Okay.
may
Right.
be an adder pastel thing with clown that's
Yeah.
doing that,
Yeah.
but the heads are clear like normal, but then right from the back of the head all the way to the tail tip, they look like a level of hypo.
No, that's crazy.
It's completely wild.
just trying to find these supers because I've just looked. It's not actually labeled super. There it is. Super adder enchi. So I'll give you guys a quick look at this because to understand what it looks like, that's why I put it on. But when we look at this, let me just go here and I'll share this for you guys. I had to relog back in and morph market, but anyway. So that there is obviously showing you a super adder enchi, which again I believe was with design. Was it design morphs?
No, he's in the U.S.
Designer
Designer
ball
Morphs
pythons. Designer ball python. Sorry. Yes, that's designer ball pythons. It's is that the guy that you got yours from?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so that's interesting. So that's from the US. That's designer ball python. Designer ball pythons,
That
Bellport,
might.
New York.
Yeah, that's him. That's him.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. There we go. So as you can see, the super
I think his name
that
is Rob Starman.
okay, okay. Well, that there apparently is what you we were just talking about the super stuff. That there is an Enchi super adder apparently. And that's when I saw the stuff you was producing, it just looked different from anything over here. And I say that with great respect. I haven't seen anyone post adders over here that look like the ones you got. And potentially, I don't know if Justin's got his from the same place, but I know Justin's got the adder stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, his at least when I knew that he had them, they were het clown. So I mean, clearly he works that avenue and with
Yeah,
clowns pretty heavily. So it wouldn't be surprising that that's what he has.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so when did you say you got yours? Around about 2017, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, 17, 18.
Yeah, yeah. So you've made some quite a lot of stuff. Can you share some with us? Like you said, you were gonna.
100%. Let me get one of these lights on real quick.
Awesome. So guys, if you're not following Ectothermic Dungeon, get over, give those guys a follow. They are fantastic people. While Jim's setting that up,
So,
we'll jump.
where do we want to start? Um, so usually I've started with normals and worked their way up, but you've kind of already done that with the morph market picture. But
Yeah,
we can look at a big adder girl.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, look at that. And it's interesting the pattern. Let me just blow Jim up without blowing him up, if you know what I mean. Hang on. Here we go. So, sorry, Jim. Let's just work this other way around. It's crazy. There you go. So as you can see, the adder's got this really unique pattern, and it's definitely the darkness of the animal, and the the um, the dorsal stripe's just so crazy, just nuts.
And then the other thing, all this white tracing coming up, well, around the alien heads, but it starts from the belly
Okay.
and then it works its way up. Um, I mean, if you look at Puzzle kind of has a little bit of that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So this girl is actually gravid. She was bred to a banana OD red stripe puzzle. So we'll hopefully get our adder pet puzzles on the ground.
That'll be interesting to see the adder puzzle because obviously the It'd be nice to see a real dark puzzle combo with the
Yeah.
adder influence, definitely.
Now, also very similar um, side belly markings, if you will, is
Yeah,
tri-stripe. So tri-stripe does a lot of the same thing along the sides of the belly.
interesting.
Well, so we've got three pairings. I've got clutches from two to make visual tri-stripes
Nice.
with the adder gene in the mix. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
You get that zipper dorsal going
yeah,
with the tri-stripe. See if we can smash that around
yeah.
and then try to complement the side belly. So
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting because what really what I want to say sort of really drew my attention to the adder stuff was when I saw your red stripe banana adder
yeah,
combo.
yeah,
Dude,
we'll get there.
that thing just popped, and I know obviously banana can change as it gets older, but as an example of showing what the adder does, working with red stripe and in banana, it really brought through loads of different colors. So that was
Yeah,
crazy.
for
That
sure.
was
And I've been
crazy.
trying to just hit a red stripe adder, and it's been a swing and a miss every time.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Wow.
Oh, now
Just
I'm gonna
look.
we'll step up one more level to a pastel adder.
Okay. Wow, that's super dark.
Yeah,
Wow.
still holds a lot of that belly pattern.
Yeah.
Same dorsal. See if we can look at her head. Now this girl is het clown.
Okay. Yeah, she got those. Pull that up there. Oh yeah, she's got those earmuffs or those markings on the ears.
Yeah, right behind in the back.
That's crazy.
So
And
this
and
girl saw a super vanilla clown, and
okay.
she's about 22, 24 millimeters. So she's
No
getting there.
way.
She's close.
Yeah, she looks really good. And again, the adder's really pulling through. And what was crazy when, when you sent me pictures of the bang adders,
Yeah,
they were so dark, but yet so. It's like the white of the bang was coming up the side to complement the adder,
yeah,
but you was sort of getting a little bit of both, But what was nice was that the adder was overpowering the bang, if that makes sense. Which a lot of people would look at that as a negative, but I think that's a positive because we can still do the super bang adder, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm really loving what it does. God of Python's interesting gene reminds me of Jungle Woma, but way more busy and sharp. Yeah, I kind of agree. I think what I've noticed with the adder is it's quite consistent. If you get a particular line or this line of ladder, which is adder, which is why I got it from Jim, um, it really does. You can't miss it. You really can't miss it. Yeah. So you can see it there as well. Yeah. It's so dark, and that's a pastel ladder. Yeah.
This is a pastel GHI adder,
Wow.
het pied. So I'm getting way more color from the pied as well.
But again, GHI is a very, here's the thing, Jim. My GHI adder is very dark, very
Oh,
dark. In
yeah,
in
it's like
fact,
jet black.
yeah, it's crazy. But then the pastel is really overpowering the GHI because of the adder. Where if you get a pastel GHI, the 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 GHI overpowers the pastel. Okay, he's got something for us.
Well, the comparison that you're talking about, right? Pastel
Yeah,
GHI.
there you go. There you go. Jesus. And that's what I mean with the adder. it's really muting the GHI when it's got the pastel, and you can clearly see the pastel GHI adder is adder because it's got the markings behind the head. But when you take out the pastel, you see the GHI and the adder. It's really bizarre that the pastel is changing and flipping it round, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy. Cool. I'm really excited to see, you know, we've got a bit of growing on those girls that I've got, but I'm super excited to see what we can do, that's for sure. Be interesting to see. Do you know if anyone's made a pied adder or an adder pied?
Not that I'm aware of.
No,
Um, and I'm hyper skeptical about pretty much any recessive that people are calling with adder, because they somebody called out that they had made the adder clowns a couple years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, and
yeah,
when I saw it, I was like, that's kind of underwhelming.
yeah,
But I pushed on and I made mine, and I'm like, yeah, mine don't look anything like that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and again, you know, we're looking at a live stream of the animal, and also when you're taking pictures and video, you can clearly see the adder markers on there. That's just and
Yeah.
and if you
Now, what I
notice,
don't know is if you can see on the inside the dorsal, there is a burgundy color inside
yeah,
the purple.
yeah,
So this gentleman is a banana super red stripe adder, and then the blushing in on the lower part of the alien heads is like a has a purple pink hue to it.
yeah. Are you sure it's super red stripe?
I'm I'm pretty sure is very very different than Dad when Dad was
Okay,
young.
yeah, fair
But
enough.
I mean, I haven't tested it, so
Yeah, yeah. No, that's cool. And again, the the sometimes here's the thing. When you showed that off, it blew my mind. But again, being able to see the different stages, which I think our community want likes to see the different stages. Like we've spoke about before when we've done, oh, this is a pastel, this is a pastel clown, this is a pastel fire clown. You know what I mean? People like to see those progressive stages so they can see how it works, and I think that's really interesting to share. Okay, what's that?
so this one I have labeled as a Super GHI red stripe adder banana. So this is a sibling to the one we just looked at. This is the holdback from that clutch.
That almost looks monarch.
Looks what?
Like it looks like a monarch combo, like the
Oh,
colors.
yeah.
The colors, Monarch's got that same sort of monotone color to it. I think, like the way it sort of pops in different. It gives it just a different vibrance in color. But yeah, again, I can see the GHI. It's yeah, yeah. Look at that.
Now, the first one of this is the second animal, just like, well, almost just like this that I made. We'll look at the single GHI red stripe banana adder here in a minute. The old,
Yeah,
I call him the old man because he's like 4 years old and he's ridiculous. But I made the same combo as him without red stripe, and banana did what banana did. It freckled.
yeah,
It was like gray purple snake.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
yeah,
with the red stripe, it's orange, like crazy orange. So I'll put this one up. We'll look at that
yeah.
that
Yeah,
four that four
definitely.
stack male.
Just pull. I'm just looking in the background while Jim's sorting that out. Um, is he back? Oh, yes. I'm just looking at some stuff. So, okay. Just tell the audience again what this one is.
So this is a proven GHI adder red stripe banana.
Okay, okay. And again, the eye stripe, the ears at the back. Yeah. Okay. Again, adder pattern, which is what we expect from the gene being named the adder. Okay, yeah. And again, it's very dominant. You can see the pattern there. You can see its traits. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
And when they talk about animals browning out and getting dull and, well, I don't know, just not
Yeah.
vibrant.
Yeah.
I mean, he's lost a little, but not very much. And for a 4-year-old male adult to have that much orange color still, yeah, I'm excited about the longevity of this, like with Bang, that also does the same thing. And I don't know.
Yeah.
And it is something with the adder and the red stripe that is making this hyperreactivity. I don't know that it's allelic. I don't know that it's anything like that. I haven't
That's a
really
good. Yeah.
been able to do enough to say that. But it is hyperreactive, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I'd be I'm going to take it a few different ways because obviously you've done what you've done. I want to do some different stuff so we can share and compare. But I do think um, I'm interested to see my partner works with candy, get it in the candy stuff, and also
Yeah.
potentially um, look at maybe adding some sort of blackhead combo into the mix.
Mm, yeah.
Again, just seeing how it reacts with other genes because it, I mean, again, the spider blackhead looks crazy. It looks fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah. I almost
Um,
did that pairing this season.
did you?
The blackhead stuff. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, again, there's not many breeders. I'm just looking on Morph Market now. There's yourself, Jim, who's probably got the most stuff up there. Well, you have for sale, but I'm just looking through the past stuff that had been sold and just seeing some of the combos and seeing exactly if it was overshot or I mean again, designer ball python, super adder, banana lesser.
Yeah. That's the one that I remember.
Yeah, again, really different. Some people call him blackadder stuff. You got blackadder spinner. Yeah, again, this guy called Ectothermic Dungeon has got a banana adder spider. Yeah, there's loads of cool stuff on there, and I think it's interesting to see what people do with it, to see where they can go. Did you say you got a clown version?
Yeah. I hit 3, but I keep getting girls. Nothing wrong with that, but it just doesn't accelerate the project too fast.
Yeah,
So the pairing on this was a pastel. You'll laugh. So pastel spot nose yellow belly clown to a pastel fader adder banana clown. Het clown.
yeah.
So
Okay.
uh, the head is just, if I can get it to comply here, is pretty standard. It has the
Yeah,
pastel markings, very clear. But then as soon as you get behind it and you start going down this dorsal, it
yeah,
all has like this smoky hypo look to it.
yeah, yeah. You can see.
So these two animals, I think they're pastel yellow belly adders.
Okay. Yeah, that would. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I can see that.
That's one, and then this is the other one.
Yeah,
So very similar on the dorsal, very
yeah,
black, regular head, but then as soon as it hits the neck, all of that is all hypo-ish.
yeah. That's really
And
weird how it's reacted
yep,
that way.
and I got one more. Let me grab her.
Okay. This gene is so super untapped. It's it's really interesting to see animals in the flesh.
So there's the head,
Yeah, yeah. Look how,
standard,
dude, look how dark that is.
and then it just goes into this hypo-esque kind of look over the whole body. So
Dude,
this I have is a pastel spot nose yellow belly adder
yeah,
clown.
yeah,
And if you look inside the alien heads, I'll see if I can get them in there. Every other blushing is red, which is, the yellow belly does that, but it's not every one. It's like that's a
yeah, yeah,
good
yeah.
look, that one right there.
Yeah, I can see him. Yeah, yeah.
So just a really strange effect with the hypo esque kind of look to them.
Dude, out of the three, that one's got to be my favorite. I've got to
Same.
say. That really, and again, I think sometimes, like you said, putting recessives in stuff is fine, but we've also got to explore the codom factors.
Yeah.
Like the codom combos, if you like. Where we
Yeah.
can make stuff. What's to say an adder freeway will look like? You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
without even adding recessive. you know, Seeing if we get some sort of a different reaction when we add like mahogany into adder,
Yeah.
or you know, just some. You can even add some of the lighter stuff. Like we said, we've seen how it reacts with lesser. No, I haven't showed you that. I will show you that. But how it reacts with lesser again is really unique looking in the bell complex stuff. But then it makes me think, well, if it reacts like that in the bell complex, I'd like to see what a bamboo adder would look like. Because
That,
I'll show you. I'll
bro,
show you.
that I was thinking that the other day too, because you look at the bamboo by itself and it already, the dorsal already kind of looks
Similar-ish.
adder-ish. You know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
And I don't have any bamboo at all. So I mean, I'd be long ways away to see what that looks like, but that would be crazy to see that.
So let me just. I'll pull up this one first, just so you guys can see exactly where I'm going with this. Um, and again, just this is from Morph Market, which I'm going to share. Um, this is on stuff that's been um, made and sold in the past. Um, so this is a banana, a lesser banana adder. So again, if you look at the back stripe of that, how interesting it looks.
Yeah,
Excuse
that's
me.
awesome.
And again, Hurricane, another good one from Great
Yeah.
Pythons. That could be interesting. I'll just show this one more before Jim shows us what he's got us. Bear with me. Let me just go back and I will pull this up. And again, if you look, the ears or the back of the eye stripe is really interactive on that. Again, it's very expressive. But look at this one. This is a Orange Dream lesser banana adder. Um, Hopefully you guys can see that. So again, you can see the adder influence down the back of the dorsal. I think is super interesting, in my opinion.
Mm,
You know, I just think that's really interesting to see do some stuff. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think bamboo it could really have a positive effect on bamboo.
yeah. And then because it is so dark, right? You it's gonna lend very well to exanthics, to
Yeah,
desert ghosts.
yeah.
Just for like way more contrast. The pied thing, I'm crazy interested to see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people, Jim, have sort of pushed Pied to the side and kind of
Yeah.
forgot about Pied. But I think what's interesting with Pied is like I've seen some people hatch some really cool Pied combos. Chris up at CD Royals, he's hatched some this gene they're working with called Cayenne, and he's hatched a cayenne pied, and that's really interesting as well. So I think there's still lots to experiment with pied,
Yeah.
and still lots to be seen from pied. I just think there's we've just got to keep working with stuff, keep
Yeah.
working with it.
Yeah, and that's how things get lost when what you like gets swayed by the masses,
Yeah,
and then you stop doing what you like to do. I mean, there is challenges with that. I mean, if nobody's buying the excess, it can be challenging.
yeah.
Um, but there's still ways to kind of go forward. Uh,
Let me just put you into single layout. Okay. What is that? An adder or a bang adder?
Bang at her. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, just look how super dark it is. It's
And for a
it,
bang, like I
oh,
mean,
dude.
I, again, not what I was expecting.
Yeah,
I'm pleased,
yeah,
and it's going to be fun, but it was not what where my brain went.
yeah, definitely. And I think because like obviously I've got the bang, you've got the bang, and it's quite a very um an investment sized project. I think people expect us to want to see the bang really overpower combos. My opinion is I want to use combos to complement each other. And
Yeah.
if the bang adder looks like that, I'm happy. But now I'm excited to see a super bang adder because it I feel it's not going to overpower the addergy. You know,
No, there's no way.
the
I
bang
mean,
the adder is just so powerful in my opinion.
yeah, but it still lets things play. It may
Yeah,
not play the way your brain works, but
yeah.
they still play. So I will tell you that this gentleman is het pied, and I pulled a clutch from a GHI yellow belly pied a few days ago. So we have 6 eggs. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, so that was bred to the GHI. No,
Yellow
what?
belly pied.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, interesting. Interesting.
So
What?
I'm really hoping that he gets it and she's not retained, but
Yeah.
we always run that risk. But we'll see. He
So,
was young, so I just set him up with one girl. I didn't stack him.
yeah,
I figured if he goes in and he gets it lock and she goes, like I'm happy. I'm not gonna push it. I don't want to deal with him. So like having issues. So
yeah,
um he kept eating. He
yeah,
saw his girl, she laid eggs, he's put up, and
yeah. You don't know until you try, Jim. You don't know
yeah,
until you try.
yeah.
And that's the thing. So, okay, so you mentioned Exantic and DG. Have you done any potential pairings for that? Or is it something you're looking towards?
I have hets for Desert Ghost.
Nice.
Um, we paired for TSK,
Yeah.
and she didn't go. She reabsorbed.
Okay.
So
Okay.
those hets won't be on the ground. But the DG stuff is live. That was produced this past season, and just trying to get some size on him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he is a banana. Um, but he's a little bit of a paradox.
Yeah. Again, you can see the adder there. That's crazy.
And I tested him out. He is double het for DG Clown. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Look at the paradox on his head as well.
Yeah. And it's jet black. Like not brown, not a funky brown, like jet
Yeah. You can
black.
see. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see where this guy's running away. But yeah, just
Yeah, yeah, you can see the paradox is so dark. That's nuts. It'd be interesting to see like lavender as well. I think lavender adders to see the contrasting colors, you know?
it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy. And I have the obviously the clown stuff, but I have grails, but I haven't done any of the lavender stuff yet. But
Yeah,
seeing kind of what it does with the clown,
yeah.
I'm really interested to see how all that's going to play out if I can work it over and get grails. You know?
Do you know there's one gene I'm thinking now we've been throwing some ideas around. I think calico or sugar adders may
Yeah,
be very, very interesting because I've got my line of calico stuff, which is really peculiar, and I think the adder will really control the whites down the side. So again, we're looking at like God of Python's mentioned hurricane. We've spoke about blackhead, mahogany, um, and other genes like that. That we can even go back to basic stuff again, like we said about the bamboo, and we can even work the calico or the sugar into the mix. Because again, what I've noticed with sugars, they can be very uniform, which is
yeah,
where the adder is. The calico can be a bit busted up, but I'd be really interesting to see like an adder calico, which I can imagine is super dark backstripe with
yeah,
pure white, you know, um, alien heads down the side. And yeah, and again, it's something simple and easy, isn't it?
yeah.
You know what I
It
mean,
really
Jim?
is. I mean,
We can, yeah,
you're not blowing the lid off of things by any means. You're talking about
yeah,
a two gene combo, right? But
yeah.
there really is just so much that hasn't been done.
And that for me, like here's the thing: we're in the era of triple quad recessive combos.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And I'm still looking at stuff like when I saw Garrett DeMeyer do the sugar lavender, dude. That thing blew me away. So I was like, you know what? Let's just make some simple stuff and
yeah.
keep it up and do some cool stuff. Um, Nathan's in the house. Good evening, Nathan. Thanks for joining
Come
us.
on, Nathan.
So yeah, I think real simple combos. I think, and also, um, Jim, what I think the simple ones, because the triples and the quads are so drawn out and all based on odds.
Yeah,
When we're working with a two gene like dominant gene or an incomplete and dominant whatever, they're quite short. They're a short project to fill the gap. Do you know what I mean?
right, right.
While we're waiting to make these three, like these uh, triples and quad hets, triple and quad visual animals, we can make these little projects in the short term to really
Yeah,
sort of help us. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Bridge the
Yeah, I
gap.
mean, because there's a lot. I mean, it'll change the direction you're going to go with it just by getting just red stripe adder. I mean,
Yeah,
that's been what's been driving my adder project is that hyperreactivity.
yeah,
So we have red stripe het try to adder het try. Those eggs dropped yesterday. It's going to be a
wow,
long shot. I only got two eggs,
wow. All you
but
need is one egg, Jim. All you need is one.
100%, right? So again, looking for that final just two gene
Yeah,
expression to see what it does, if it truly is hyper reactive by itself, or is it the stack that is doing this.
yeah,
Um, so that'll come. The orange adult male, the GHI red stripe adder banana.
yeah,
I've made both sides to put the components together to get that in clown.
yeah,
she's 26 millimeters, so hopefully she keeps going, and we get eggs from that, and we get. I mean, again, you're talking about a 4 stack with a recessive. It's a long
Yeah.
road, and it's a first year girl, so I might, get 4 eggs, 3 eggs.
Yeah.
Could get 6 eggs. But almost everything that I'm doing has been driven by the red stripe
Red
in
stripe
one
adder.
one part piece or another.
I'm sort of thinking now. Now I'm thinking more outside the box. Stuff like we've seen how Cypress and Red Stripe react. It'd be interesting to see Red Stripe, Cypress adder, to see if the adder still controls.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
my mind now is, yeah, we like to play with, recessive genes. Um, but again, there's different stuff out there that you can play with that I really do think that we can really push the boundary with just working with codom stuff. Like I've got orbit stuff, I've got sable stuff, I've got my own genes that I'm working with, you know, and we don't need to go down this route of doing triples and quads. Yes, they're great for the long haul projects, and again, we're in this era of triples and whatever else. But some of my best combos don't even have a het recessive attached,
yeah,
So I think there's so much to do. We just haven't got the time to do everything, literally, you know.
yeah. I mean, and I agree with you completely. I think we're way too early to the triples and quads.
Yeah.
There's so many just comboed single gene recessives that haven't been done, and there's an infinite amount of them with a double recessive that hasn't been done. And I just, I don't know. I think we just went running down the road and never looked back. And
Yeah, yeah, because potentially as well, think of how many world's firsts. I mean, do you remember, Jim, when we used to everyone was kind of in a not necessarily in a race, but we all wanted to make that world's first animal, you
yeah,
know?
and put your name
One of
on it or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
one of one, put your name on it, world of ball pythons, you know. Um and now we're potentially in an era where new people getting into the hobby, like their first year of breeding, can hit a world's first
yeah,
because we are, like you said, there's a lot of breeders out there who are overshooting and missing those bits in between. You know,
yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah. And I think
it's cool.
that era that you're talking about, and I think you had said this in one of your videos a few years back. It's we shouldn't really be focused on the world's first. It should be the world's best
Yeah,
of that said combo or whatever. And
yeah,
that's a shift in your mindset, really. Um,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
because when you set up, like when I do a show, I may not sell. I definitely don't sell the volumes that my neighbor ball python breeders are selling.
Hmm.
But what I do get is probably about every third person that walks by my table is like, why? Tell me why your all your animals just look crazy and the colors are amazing compared to everybody else's.
Yeah,
Like it's not necessarily from buying from 2 tables down,
yeah,
just because he had the stack that I was after. You know,
yeah,
you like you said earlier, you want to find that breeder that's known for that and has that quality that you're after so that it then trickles down and it permeates everything you're doing. Because if you put bad stuff in, it's so hard to get it out.
yeah,
And not that banana's bad or spider's bad, but it's taken me 6 years to be able to get clutches where I don't have either one of them, those
yeah.
genes in there.
Popping up. Yeah, you don't
Right.
mind having it
So,
every now and again, but not in every clutch.
right. So I liken it to Kool-Aid,
Yeah,
right? So if you had a glass of water and you put Kool-Aid in it, without dumping the glass, how long is it going to take you to get all that Kool-Aid out?
yeah, yeah. I'm with you. And that's something that like I said to you before, you know I've always tried to hand pick genetics. So like hurricane, the acid, the
Mm.
bang, everything that I've tried to do, the stranger stuff I've now got, the monsoon stuff, the adder stuff from yourself, the paint stuff I got from Richard. I've just I genuinely believe if you want to make great combos, you've got to have great ingredients. There's no point having a little bit of this. Well, hopefully it will hide the fact that this isn't a good example. You need a real good example of stuff. And Jim, I without sounding bad, but I can't find what I wanted in the UK. So I had to
Mm.
go to the US to find what I need. And that's not a bad thing. It just means that I'm willing to go above and beyond to go
Yeah,
after what I need. Do you know what I mean? Like you're picking up
100%.
some rhino stuff. You know, you're going to be the first person in the US with a rhino gene in your collection. I've got a clutch that's due to hatch in the next 10 days, which could yield some really exciting rhino stuff. And
Information.
And again, it's all about trying to go to the source. When I went after acid, I went to Josh Jensen. When I went after OD, I went to Ozzy. You know what I mean? And that speaks volumes because now when people buy from me, they know they're buying a particular lineage.
Right.
And I think again we've spoken about this before. Lineage is important, and um, you want your snakes to speak to yourself. If you're buying a DG, you want to see a DG.
Right.
So
Yeah, I agree with that.
that's important for me.
Yeah,
Jim,
and we've done similar stuff too. Um,
yeah,
you go to the horse to get what you're after, so to speak. Yeah,
definitely. We tend to keep this to about an hour because obviously I know you guys got lots on your end and it's getting late this end.
sure.
But Jim, tell me some of your future, um, as well as the adder. What's your other projects that you're working with?
Well, we got our hands in a lot of recessives, um, and it's more recessives than I really should have, but it's taken a long time to kind of really figure out
Yeah,
like who I am in this,
yeah,
right, or what you're known for in this.
mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, if you're chasing everything all the time, you're just another one of the masses, right?
Yeah,
So I think the beginning of the path of for my definition of success is finding what it is that you're known for.
yeah,
So I mean, we've been doing this for 13 years, and I think this past season it's just kind of solidified itself to be adder
yeah,
and bang. And then I'm hoping the rhino is going to come in and be a component to that.
yeah,
Um, and then I want to find out what that is recessive wise for us,
yeah,
and what really rings home that I truly get excited about. But we have Pied, we have Clown, we have Desert Ghost, we have Exanthic, we have Puzzle, I have Tri-Stripe, I have Hypo.
yeah,
Um, I mean, there's a lot to work with, and so we're doing little bits at a time. 2 or 3 clutches a season,
mm-hmm.
probably in each one, plus maybe another one for hets. So we probably run somewhere between 30 and 45 clutches a year.
Yeah,
Um, so
yeah,
we have lavender.
yeah.
So
That's something that again I'm trying to explain to people that we talk a lot on the Patreon, talk about stuff like finding a niche in projects, which there is tons of stuff you can work with. I had a family round the other day and we were talking, and they basically took like 2 years off from breeding because of bits and pieces they were doing at home,
yeah,
and they've come back and we were talking, and I was like, have you seen this? And they was like, no, I've not seen that. Look at this. And they're like, wow. And all of a sudden, they've got that drive again. And I think it's you've got to find that niche, something that you're excited about. Like you
Yeah.
said, the adder red stripe is the thing that's pushing you, but there's also curiosity with the adder pied, and
Yeah.
also then trying to isolate certain genes and take it down a completely different route. I think it's important nowadays to be, look how many breeders have come out the woodwork and are known for certain things. Like Chris, is it Chris Herman with the
Hernan,
deep,
yeah.
yeah, with the deep line high OD stuff.
Yeah, the deep
Um,
orange. Yeah.
Deep orange, yeah, he's proving to doing some real fantastic work with line breeding on that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We are seeing more and more breeders being more unique and boutique, as Ozzy used to say. Um, and I think that's what's going to set us apart from everyone else. Is to be your own driving force in your own projects.
Right. And it may take you a while. I mean,
Yeah,
again, I've been doing this 13 years. It's taken me 11 to 12 to kind of get that figured out, which is great that I'm figuring it out. But like, some people you see kind of figure it out a little sooner. Um,
yeah,
but it's got to be something that I just really love to see in that I can
yeah.
see down the road, so that I can
And
put my own spin on things. So yeah,
And the good thing is, we still have a lot of genes which are very untapped. The
yeah,
new people coming into the hobby can actually make their own, carve their own way in history, if you like, for
yeah,
being known for certain stuff. Like, I hatched some orbit stuff um, last month, and I started looking around, and I realized, just in that one project alone, there is tons and tons of combos which just haven't been touched. And I'm just looking at that, and I was talking to a breeder, and I said, "You do understand that this project is still so untouched. There is multiple directions you can go in. That you stand a chance of making it your own project, if that makes sense." So, I think for new people getting in, I think it's still exciting. They've just got to be able to stay away from the rat race, if you like. You know what I mean? That FOMO
yeah. Not
type
not
thing.
getting sucked up into the competition,
Yeah,
right?
because
So if you have your own lane, like we'll use Adder. There's other people that have Adder and do stuff, but for me, I'm not racing anybody with that. And
no,
maybe Justin will put something out, and I might feel that way, but at a later time. But right now, I mean, I have it in so many different recesses, and if I don't have it already, I'm getting the eggs this season. The
yeah,
girls have already gone, so puzzles coming. I think that's going to be a big one.
yeah,
Hopefully, we hit the tri-stripe this year. Hopefully, we hit the pied this year. We took a look at the clown stuff. So once I get a good handle on what it is, then I can even pare that down even more to where I want to focus it. So the
yeah.
the
And I
nice
think,
thing is I'm not racing anybody to do it.
yeah, I think it's nice to be able to take a gene, um, and whether it be, like I said, the adder, orbit, whatever people want to work with, that's quite under the radar stuff. Um, it's nice to be able just to go at your own pace, if that makes sense. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
we can all get wrapped up. Don't get me wrong, we all can get wrapped up in certain projects and in certain rat races. But for me, I know, I know there's only so much I can do with a particular gene that's already out there that a lot of people have already got. What can I
yeah,
do that's different to make my mark on that project? That's going to be very little if more people have
yeah,
got it. Whereas if there's a gene out there that's quite unique and under the radar, you stand an opportunity of coming out the traps running, as they say.
yeah.
So and then it's your little project that you can work with. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm very interested in now getting another bamboo animal in. Because I did have bamboo, I let it all go. I just wanted to stay away from a bell complex, the blue-eyed leucistics, and when you've got lesser Mojave,
Yeah.
Phantom, Bamboo, Mystic, you've really got to start letting some of the projects go. So, um, just thinking about now the Adder Bamboo, I think that'll be really interesting, and that's just a two gene animal.
Yeah. I mean, and you kind of bring up another, like my brain's still going down another road. I mean, everybody stays away from the ivory stuff, or
Hmm.
for the most part now because it's mostly white. But we played with it pretty heavy for several years, and you get the leopard in there, and you get the purple start to come
Yeah,
back because leopard's so dark. Like now, my brain is like maybe I want to go back to and see if I can make
an ivory. Yeah,
an adder ivory and
yeah,
see if we get a really dark zipper dorsal that's going to be kind of purple. Um, I
yeah.
don't know. It's a mostly white snake with a little flaming on the bottom and a purple zipper down the dorsal. I mean, that could be pretty cool as well.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like we said before, we haven't got to go balls to the wall, if you like, with making a quad recessive adder combo.
Yeah,
If we make them along the way, great. Great. Chuck them on the shelf. Um, but that there's other combos we can look at, like you said. We've spoken about in with the adder stuff. Super asphalt adder. You could look down the lines. You could look down the lines of freeway adders. Like you said, the ivory adders. Again,
yeah,
leopard ivories look crazy. You know, um, I've got ivory animals in there that you can pretty much tell whether there's enchi, pastel, and banana, because the banana just gives it a different look. The eye tone is completely different. Instead of it being black, it's more red. So there is tons of stuff we can do, and I think it's such it's it's worth mentioning to people that we still can make two gene combos and be world's first as well as world's best and
yeah,
enjoy what we do. You know what I mean?
yeah, and impressive nonetheless.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
but
yeah,
but
definitely.
those kind of steps leads your brain down where the recessive can take it.
Yeah,
You do that with sugar, like you were talking about, or calico, and we already kind of have seen those genes in clown. I mean, if it does like what you're talking, and then you get like this hypo-esque look to it in a clown, I mean, who knows what that's gonna do?
yeah,
Because the
and
because hypo reacts really good with oranges, and both
oh
sugar
yeah,
and calico produce a lot of orange, right? So
yeah,
if
definitely.
you and and if you did a hypo clown, is it like a super hypo clown? I mean,
I can,
I don't know.
yeah,
Just
and again, this is where we can go. We can talk about mandarin adders
yeah,
with
yeah,
hypo on top. We can talk about, you know,
crazy.
mandarin, orange dream, calico, adder, hypos. You know what I mean? We can stand here and stack the genes,
Yeah,
but we've got all those parts in between to make and enjoy. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? So,
100%.
uh, guys, if you're watching this stuff and you're seeing, if you can see what we're trying to say is basically sometimes less is more, and the less you see, the more you want to add, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
my brain, I mean, it's 10 past 12 here at night, at midnight here in the UK.
Sorry.
No, 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 it's not a problem, Jim. I'm going to wrap this up because I only like to try and keep people for about an hour. But we're always good to do part two sometime. But what I'm saying is, I'm going to go to bed now, and all I'm going to be
Yeah.
thinking about is combos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you won't sleep
Like
too
you
much.
want to make more, don't you? You know what I mean? You want to
Yeah.
keep it, you know. And I'm pretty confident those who are watching and those who do watch this tomorrow or the next day, whenever, I can just imagine people's brains starting to hurt. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
this is
Oh,
good.
every season when I start my pairings, when I'm putting them in I do a spreadsheet. When I start putting stuff in the spreadsheet, and I'm like, well, I can't do 15 pairings of adders, so I got to dial it back. And then it's like painful to pull clutches off, to make
Yeah.
space for the other projects. But hopefully, I'll have again adder in enough of those other projects to where it'll also be a key part of that.
I'm going to finish off with something very simple that I want people to think about. And this is something that I want to do another video on. And I've been a bit shy about getting in front of the camera recently because of just just trying to get things done. But I want to talk about um, in the future, and this is something for you guys to think about, Jim, and I think you'll agree with me, is the value of an animal is different to what the market value is. So, for example,
Mm.
you can have a breeder size female, and I'll take a leopard yellow belly that's het for nothing. She's a leopard yellow belly. I've had her for a number of years. She will eat her own food, lay her own eggs. She would even take them to the incubator for you and hatch them for you. You know what I mean? She's that
Yeah,
good, Jim.
yeah,
The problem is the market value on that female is probably about £150, right? $150, whatever.
yeah,
But to me, her value, what she's worth to me, because I know if I can put something to her, because of how receptive she is, how on point she is with feeding, with laying eggs, the whole shebang, even getting back on food. All I've got to do every year is change that male for something relevant. That female now, her value is only market value, if you like, in what morph market or the
yeah.
people
Is kind
think.
of dictating. Yeah,
Yeah, but really, to me, her worth is worth way more. So sometimes, Jim,
hundred
I'm old
percent.
school. I don't sell things because I know they're worth more to me than what I can get. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, and I've had conversations with people that wanted to get into the adder stuff, and they wanted a breeder male, and I'm like, well, I mean, I have two adder het tri-stripes. I mean, I don't really need both. I kept them so I would have a backup male just in case one took longer than the other.
Yeah,
But they both breed really good. So I mean, I'd be good to let one go, but it's X price. Well, I don't really need the tri-stripe. I'm like, sorry, you're gonna pay for it because he'll stay here and they'll
yeah,
still alternate breed so that I don't tap one out for a season.
yeah,
Or you can just not have it.
yeah,
So
and
same thing, right?
yeah,
Like they're
yeah,
trying to change the value of your animal, but the value to me of having two
yeah,
is
is way worth more. And that's
yeah,
something that I want to give people a little something to think about as they look at their own collection, because a lot of the time, you know, we can be despondent about our own collection because we go and look at other people's collections and we go, well, their collection's far superior to mine. You know, I feel a little bit down about the hobby and, we X, Y, and Z. But actually, if we look at what they're worth to you on a um, on a level of, like I said, you've got females there that will do it all for you. You know,
yeah,
it's very difficult to find females like that, and it's even harder for me to sell one because I know the market value is pennies on what I believe she's worth as a breeder female. You know,
right.
um, but yeah. On that note, Jim, I really do appreciate everything you've shared
Thank
with
you,
us this
sir.
evening. I appreciate everything you've done with the Adder project in the US, and I know there's a few other people in the Adder project in the US and in the UK. But I really do feel that you brought it to my attention what you got, which then got me interested, which then got me looking over here. Couldn't find anything over here, so I came to you. So I do appreciate our friendship, and obviously the
Absolutely.
animals are amazing.
Thank
Um,
you.
I'm going to put you backstage. I'm just going to sign out, and then I'll jump back on to
Sure.
you, Jim. But yeah, social medias. What have we got? We got Instagram.
Yeah, pretty much all of them are ectothermic dungeon. Instagram, there is some TikTok, there's some YouTube, Facebook, which I pretty much just forward the Instagram over to
Yeah.
Facebook. Instagram is probably the best. It's the most active, and pretty much any of them, I'm going to respond to you right away. So if you have
Yeah.
questions or anything about this
I know.
project or anything else, yeah, definitely hit me
I
up.
notice you're pretty quick at replying on Instagram. So,
Yeah,
guys, if you are watching this and you want to ask Jim a question, definitely Instagram. I think definitely. And
absolutely.
you're gonna do any more YouTube videos this season, or?
Yeah, I want to. I'd like to do a compilation for the Adder project to get that out there so that
Yeah, I think that'd be
I can
good.
stack at least a decent amount of combos and animals into a video. I think I have enough to do that. Um, I just have to do it.
Yeah.
I just like,
Yeah,
I got
definitely.
lackadaisical with it, and
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Awesome, guys. Jim, Ectothermic Dungeon, get over, give him a follow. Jim, thanks very much, and I'll
Thank
see
you.
you soon.
Yeah. Have a good night.
So there you have it, guys. The Adder project. I wanted to get Jim on to talk about that, and you'll see in our Patreon lives, I'm getting a few guests on to talk about various different projects because I do feel there are people who are leading the way in certain projects. Because of their uniqueness and what they're doing, I think it's important to highlight them and the project, like I said. If there's anyone you think deserves a highlight, like a particular project that you think we can talk and discuss about and learn more and bring to the table, definitely let me know. I know it's a bit late, guys, but I hope you've enjoyed this. I certainly have enjoyed it, looking at the adder stuff and discussing where we can go with the adder, because it's definitely an untapped gene. And again, being able to work with those unique genes gives us time. But guys, I'm going to leave you to it. Enjoy the rest of your evening, or go and get your head down, whatever you're doing. But I appreciate your love and support. Take it easy. Enjoy your evening. And I'll see you guys in the next one.